Jeez. This has pike written all over it. No? Are you serious? That was a very aggressive bite. This bass must have been on him since it hit the water. Again, they're going for that head. They're actually trying to eat it. And this bass wanted it. There must be some really good competition down there for these fish, if they're gonna hit a bait that aggressive. I was just reeling this bait in. I was just reeling that popper in, just to take another cast, and all of a sudden, whoosh, just exploded on it. Nice little chunk of a bass though. They've been eating those little fry. That had pike written all over it, and I thought for sure it was a pike. Darn it. Well, actually, I don't want a pike. I'll take a bass over a pike any day, except in the winter. Hey guys, Cody here from On the Water with Cody B. Miller. Today I just want to talk a little bit about topwater fishing. And right now I'm fishing, it's about 6 o'clock in the morning. The water is dead calm. And what I'm fishing with today is this Rapala X-Pop. So I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about it because I think there are some things to this that make it work better than what most people fish it. The way I like to fish these topwater poppers is I like to fish offshore structure. If you look behind me here, I'm fishing this riprap right here, this rocky shoreline, and it just has a nice drop off to it. And those bass, they got done spawning on this area earlier this year, and these bait fish have been coming up and they've been feeding, and that's what's causing these bass to move up into the shallows. So morning is one of the best times to catch bass. There's 3 times that bass will usually feed. Just like humans, we eat breakfast in the morning, we eat lunch during the afternoon, and we eat supper at night. That's kind of like how it goes for bass. Prime time is in the morning, you got a little bit of a prime time in the afternoon, and then as soon as that sun starts to set, then you'll get some topwater action as well. But see, this offshore structure right here, I'm gonna get really, really tight to the shoreline here, as tight as I can. For some reason, these bass like to tuck themselves in these little pockets. Because if you also look behind me, that's one of my prime fishing spots right there. That's the dam. Even back further, you have that long shoreline, and those bass like to tuck themselves underneath those little weed pockets on that shoreline. And those bass are always really tight up in the shoreline. So fish this offshore structure for a little bit. And another thing that you'll notice too, maybe the camera can't pick this up, but there is some algae that is floated at the top. Not really algae, but just dead weeds that floated up. And another reason why I picked this spot is because of that. Sometimes those little dead weeds that you see floating on top, it'll have some bugs in it. It'll have a little, some grubs, and it'll force bluegills, little bluegills and stuff like that, and it'll come picking on it. And wherever there's bluegills, there's largemouth bass. I don't have much of a rhythm when it comes to fishing poppers. You gotta kind of let the fish tell you. I like to fish them slower. A trick to making this work is I'm using fluorocarbon line. I'm using a spinning reel. This is my 6'6" St. Croix Premier rod, and I'm using 8-pound test fluorocarbon. The key to that is it forces the bait, when it's sitting on top of the water, it'll force it to push down. And it gets in the fish's face. That's the key to making this work. If you can make that bait literally put itself in front of the bass, you'll get a hit. It happened to me this morning already before I had the camera going. So you let it pop and then it just slowly floats back up. Leave it sit there for a couple seconds. And don't be discouraged if you don't get a hit right away. Now something that the camera can't see is behind me here, or behind the camera, there is some weeds. Some weeds, they come out and then they stop. And then there's a little bit of a drop off, and that's where the weeds stop growing. So hopefully there's a bass right along that weed line right there. That was a horrible cast. So just fish offshore structure like that. Popped it once and he smoked it. I don't know if you can hear him jumping in the background. This is actually a decent fish.
Oh, he's barely hooked. Barely hooked. I think.
Look at that. Nice fish, nice little chunk. About a 15-inch bass, I'd say. Now, when you catch a fish on this, the first thing to remember is to remain calm. That fish, when it hit there, I gave him a couple seconds before I actually set the hook. Now, one thing that I look at in particular when I'm fishing these topwater lures, look at where the front hook is. That's right in the mouth. The back treble hook is right by his gills there, but look, he was going for the head of that bait. This is how you know these bass are actually feeding. They're actually trying to eat this bait. They're actually trying to kill it. Pay attention to that stuff. And just like that. And he was right off of that offshore weed line. I'm gonna let this boy go. Good fish. Let me dry off my hands. I actually had seen that fish before he blew up on it, because there was a little bit of a wake right behind my popper before he hit. So that's when I kind of got ready. That's when you saw me kind of lean down, because I was getting ready for that bite. But I bet you I only popped it once, and that's when he had it. Let's see if I can get another one. That was a good fish. But yeah, it's like frog fishing or any topwater fishing in general. You always want to give them a couple extra seconds ahead of time to actually take that bait down. That can make or break your day. And when you're a tournament angler like I am, that is crucial. If you make one mistake, that could make or break your tournament. Just nice pops, just figure out how the bass want to eat it that day. Like I said, I like to use fluorocarbon, and that fluorocarbon forces me to fish slower. It forces me to get right in front of the fish's face. There's got to be some more fish over there. There's got to be. You know how I was talking about fishing in the morning, afternoon, and night? It occurred to me that that's when the big ones actually feed. The more that I think on it, that's actually the prime time where the bigger fish feed. During the day, you don't hear too many people catching bigger fish during the day. That's why, if you want to get started with topwater fishing, if you want to get started catching bigger bass, it's definitely worth waking up at 5:30 in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, staying out there until the waves start to come in, until the boaters start to come out. That's the time to catch your big bass. Guys, this has been a segment of On the Water with Cody Wiesmiller. How to topwater fish. Like I said, I'm using this Rapala X Pop. I hope this video helped you guys. Thank you for watching. Hey guys, so I was just fishing this topwater popper. I just shut the camera off and this fish came out and clobbered that X Pop. Again, look at how he took that bait. He's gonna flex. I'm gonna get a hook in the finger. Look at how he took that X Pop. He already got me once in the finger a couple of times when I tried to go out and lift them. One thing I forgot to mention, when you're fishing these lures, like I said, give them a couple extra seconds. But at the same time, oh my gosh, this fish is gonna kill me. At the same time, these fish also have a reputation for missing this bait. This one's very aggressive today. These fish also have a reputation for missing the bait a lot. Like this fish right here, he missed it twice. I'm gonna let him go. He missed that bait twice, and then I just let the bait sit there. After I missed him a couple of times, I thought he had it, but I ripped the hooks out of his mouth. After he missed it a couple of times, I just let that bait float up, and I just let it sit there. And all you see is the bait. All you see is the bass do this. Just lightly took it under, just took it by the hooks, and I gave him about 3 seconds before I set the hook. That's one more thing that you want to know. That's what you want to do. In case you ever miss fish, just ever let that bait float up and just let it sit there. If you ever miss a fish, you know, if he's closer to the boat, quick fire back out there and you can get him. That's one more crucial thing about topwater fishing that I want you guys to get out of this video today. Thanks for watching.